Late at night. The capital of the Dragon Kingdom, the Academy of Astronomy. In the solemn conference hall, a group of hurried researchers suddenly poured into them. Their faces were solemn and panicked, as if something major had happened. "Everyone, take your seats, we'll have an emergency meeting." Professor Chen Kaiming, who presided over the meeting, looked at everyone heavily and announced. Everyone sat down and kept quiet. Last night, at 21 hours 13 minutes and 37 seconds, our monitoring satellite constellation detected a very terrifying set of data. Everyone, please look at the screen. Professor Chen Kaiming turned to look at the screen at the back, and went straight to the topic. Hearing this, everyone looked at the big screen in unison. They were all urgently summoned in their sleep, eager to know the reason for this emergency meeting. I saw that the big screen presented a picture of a three-dimensional model of the Earth. The surface of the Earth was surrounded by a blue aperture, which blocked the cosmic rays from space and the red solar wind. 21 hours 13 minutes and 37 seconds, we monitored the attack of an unknown cosmic ray, the impact location, 113.239205 east longitude, 23.199253 north latitude. The range is very small, the intensity is high, the energy intensity exceeds hundreds of billions of joules, and a large-scale magnetic storm erupts, causing the area. Some of the electronic communications were interrupted, electronic facilities were suspended, resulting in relatively serious economic losses. Professor Chen Kaiming said with a solemn expression. Hearing this, everyone in the audience was taken aback. Is it caused by the solar wind? No. The solar activity is in a stable period, and it's night again. It shouldn't be. Can it penetrate the Earth's magnetic field? Are there other phenomena? Its energy is very strong and concentrated. It should come from a very distant galaxy. After a long interstellar journey, the Earth became its destination. I think this should be an accidental astronomical event. Will such strong rays have a negative impact on the stability of the Earth's magnetic field? The Earth's magnetic field is already in a period of continuous weakening. If this attack causes the magnetic field to switch in advance, it will be dangerous. As soon as Professor Chen Kaiming's words fell, there was a crashing, and everyone started talking, and the scene was chaotic. This situation is so unexpected. In the universe, various energy rays are everywhere. However, those cosmic rays from cosmic celestial bodies must pass through several barriers before reaching the Earth's ground. One is the solar wind generated all the time by the stellar sun, the other is the gravitational pull of other stars in the solar system, and the third is the obstruction of the atmosphere, the Earth's own magnetic field and the atmosphere, and the existence of the geomagnetic field can change the direction of movement of most charged particles in the rays. The million-meter-thick Earth's atmosphere prevents them from reaching the ground. The ability of the Earth to breed countless lives is because it operates in a safe and stable environment for a long time. The powerful impact of this cosmic ray attack on the Earth is definitely a rare astronomical phenomenon once in 1,000 years. Once there is any accident in the Earth's magnetic field, it will firstly fail to bind the Earth's atmosphere. Next, the solar wind and cosmic rays will directly hit the Earth and water resources will evaporate. For the Earth's ecosystem, it will be a catastrophe, and mankind will also face a doomsday crisis. Yang Cheng, CUHK. Boys' Dormitory Building, 407. Li Yi woke up in a daze, his eyes were dull and confused. It seems that after sleeping for a century, Li Yi's thinking is a little dull, unable to recognize the appearance of reality. Li Yi felt that he had a bizarre dream. In the dream, a giant library appeared, with thousands of large bookshelves, and each shelf contained hundreds of books, like a giant maze of bookshelves. No matter how you go, you can't get out. Wake up! If you don't wake up again, I'll take you to the hospital. He said with a happy face. The voice of his roommate, Zhang Heidao, came from his ear. What's wrong with me? What happened? Li Yi asked in confusion. I don't know if something exploded. You were stunned on the balcony and startled us. Roommate Lin Hang laughed playfully. We called the school doctor overnight to help you check your body. Fortunately, nothing serious. How? What's wrong with your body? Zhang Heidao asked with concern. Li Yi frowned, and then he remembered that he was drying clothes on the balcony last night, and suddenly a thunderbolt resounded through the sky. He lost consciousness, woke up, and was already lying on the bed. After a good night's sleep, he had a long and strange dream. Except for the drowsiness of his head, Li Yi felt that he was in a good condition, and there was nothing uncomfortable. Li Yi, you are the closest to the scene, haven't you noticed anything unusual? Roommate Lu Wenfan asked curiously. What did you find? I don't even know what happened. Li Yi looked at Lu Wenfan and asked in confusion. I don't know what blew up last night, causing the entire dormitory building to lose power. There is no wireless signal, and it has not recovered until now. Lin Hang looked at Li Yi and explained. Damn it! I don't know if my experimental data can be saved. Lu Wenfan cursed with a depressed expression. What was it that exploded? It was so serious. Li Yi was surprised. I don't know what exploded, and I still don't know the reason. The loud noise was so loud that it shattered a lot of glass. Lin Hang shook his head in confusion and looked at the window. Li Yi followed Lin Hang's gaze, and sure enough, the glass windows of the dormitory were cracked with several cracks. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Everyone was taken aback. Fortunately, no one was injured. You were the only one who was knocked out. It's really unfortunate. Zhang Heidao looked at Li Yi and said with a smile. Li Yi was in a trance for a while. It seems that things are not so simple. He should not have been stunned by the loud noise. In the dark, Li Yi seemed to see a bright light shot towards him, and the golden light suddenly appeared, knocking him unconscious. With a pop, the ceiling fan suddenly swirled, and the lights came on. Ha! I'm calling, finally I'm calling. Great, I don't know if my files are still there. Zhang Heidao, Lin Hang, and Lu Wenfan ran back to their computer desks and turned on the computer. Li Yi glanced at his busy roommate, was alone, and froze in a daze. Just now, a black phantom suddenly appeared in front of him. Now it disappeared again. What happened? Is it a hallucination? Li Yi's expression tightened. His body won't have any problems, right? Li Yi checked his body and soon found an extra black tattoo on his right wrist. The black tattoo area is the size of a coin, rectangular, and looks like a miniature book. The lines are complex, three-dimensional, precise, and clear, exuding a mysterious atmosphere. What is it? When did it happen? Li Yi spat and wiped hard. However, the black tattoo was deeply embedded in the skin, and Li Yi couldn't wipe it off. Li Yi's face changed drastically, staring at the mysterious black tattoo, trying to see the structure of the black tattoo. With a boom, Li Yi's brain suddenly roared, and everything in front of him suddenly changed drastically. Li Yi blinked, passed through a silver passage, and appeared in a huge space. Looking around, a densely packed bookshelf appeared in front of him. Li Yi widened his eyes. This space is the bookshelf labyrinth that trapped him before. The large silver-grey bookshelves are neatly arranged, densely packed, thousands, and endless. Each large bookshelf is 3 or 4 meters high, and there are hundreds of giant books on it. Each book is about 10 centimeters thick. Before, these books were grey and could not be taken. However, this time, the books on the bookshelf showed colors, some were red, some were green, some were black. Colorful. For a while, Li Yi was dazzled, not knowing why he appeared here. Li Yi picked up a book with a red cover from a bookshelf nearby. The written characters and symbols were very complicated. Every tick and swipe formed strange and complex structural symbols. Li Yi had never seen them before, but he could understand these characters. The literal meaning of the symbol. Borst's life course. Seeing the meaning of the title of understanding, Li Yi was taken aback by himself. What the hell? Is this a book about alien life? Li Yi hurriedly opened the history of Ballstar's life and checked the contents of the book. As the book opened, a magical alien world entered Li Yi's eyes. The book describes a planet called Bolsai, a planet full of ammonia, methane, and chlorine gas, which is different from the environment where humans cannot survive on Earth. However, this special environment has nurtured and evolved a group of people. Unique organisms that have methane in their bodies and are powered by methane. Soon, all kinds of jet-flying alien life forms kept coming into Li Yi's eyes as the pages turned. As if reading another bizarre and real storybook, the unique and novel content suddenly attracted Li Yi's mind. With the spirit of novelty and inquiry, Li Yi tirelessly flipped through the books, and the various strange-shaped life forms of the star of Borsai constantly subverted his cognition. I don't know how long it took. The thousands of pages of the history of the life of the Bors star have been turned to the end by Li Yi. Not surprisingly, this planet has evolved a high-level intelligent civilization, the Bors star, and it has many organs. Degenerate, with a stature like a ball, with an incomparably powerful brain, driving an interstellar spaceship and embarking on a journey to conquer the Sea of Stars. Li Yi closed the book, his eyes blurred. Is the content recorded in this book true? Why can I understand these alien words? Li Yi put the red book back on the shelf and took out another book with a black cover. Elder De Yuan talks about the physics of the universe. Li Yi opened the physics book with a hint of curiosity. Soon, another kind of physical world, which was different from that introduced in physics textbooks, appeared in front of Li Yi. Gradually, Li Yi fell into the vast physical world, unable to extricate himself. Li Yi, wake up! Why are you sleeping again? Zhang Heidao's voice suddenly sounded beside his ear. Li Yi's eyes flashed and he woke up. What appeared in front of him was Zhang Heidao's chubby face. You're so good, you can fall asleep even while sitting. Zhang Heidao praised with a thumbs up. Me? Li Yi opened his mouth, not knowing where to start. He was clearly in that mysterious library. What's going on here? Li Yi lowered his head and glanced at the black tattoo on his wrist. A glimmer of enlightenment flashed in his eyes. It is it. There is something wrong with this tattoo. Old Li, get up quickly, we're going to go down to eat. You haven't eaten breakfast, aren't you hungry? Zhang Heidao asked urgently. Li Yi raised his eyes. His roommates Lin Hang and Lu Wenfen were also wearing shoes and preparing to go out. What time is it now, and how long have I been dozing off since I woke up just now? Li Yi thought of something and asked nervously. It's 11:27 now, it was 9 o'clock when you first woke up. Zhang Heidao looked at Lin Hang and Lu Wenfen uncertainly. More than that, it was around 10:20, when I just checked the time. Lu Wenfen confirmed. Li Yi's heart moved. It had only been an hour. He had read 2 books in that library. It took more than 1,000 pages of content. Thinking of this, Li Yi tried his best to recall, and the various knowledge points of the history of Ballstar life and Elder De Yuan talks about the physics of the universe clearly appeared in his mind. This. Li Yi's eyes widened, and he was stunned. Old Li, don't hesitate, get up quickly. Seeing Li Yi's sluggish look, Zhang Heidao couldn't help urging him. Li Yi raised his head and glanced at Zhang Heidao, held his excitement, and pretended to be sick. I can't lift myself up at the moment, you guys go eat, and bring me a copy when you come back. You are tired from sleep. The more you sleep, the more tired you are. Get up and move quickly. Lu Wenfen looked at Li Yi and advised. Yet. You've slept for more than 10 hours and haven't eaten breakfast, how can you be energetic? Lin Hang reminded with a smile. Li Yi hugged the sheets tightly, shook his head and said, I'm too tired, I really don't want to move, maybe it's the sequelae, I haven't recovered yet. Hearing the words, the 3 of them stopped persuading them immediately, and Li Yi's sudden coma might really have sequelae. Okay, I'll bring food for you. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com, you have a good rest. Zhang Heidao replied, and immediately left from Li Yi's bed. Lin Hang and Lu Wenfan followed, and the three left the dormitory together. Watching the roommates leave, Li Yi went to the bed, raised his right hand, and looked at the black tattoo on his wrist. The next moment, Li Yi's eyes flashed, as if he had passed through a silver passage and reappeared in the library, surrounded by 3 or 4 meters high, silver-grey bookshelves, densely packed and endless. Sure enough, black tattoos are the switch to get in here. Looking at the endless bookshelf with hundreds of millions of books on it, Li Yi was both happy and nervous. It's easy to get in, how to get out? The idea of going out is a lifetime. Li Yi's eyes flashed, and he suddenly disappeared from the library. Li Yi opened his eyes, and what he saw was the mosquito net above the bed. Li Yi was overjoyed, took the phone by the bed, checked the time, and looked at the black tattoo again. The next moment, Li Yi appeared in the huge library. Li Yi took a deep breath and picked up a book with a green cover from the big bookshelf on the right. Nader Geometry. Li Yi flipped through it for a while, and then put the book on geometry and mathematics back into the bookshelf. This bookshelf contains mathematics books. Mathematics is a subject that requires a lot of energy and perseverance to learn well. At this moment, Li Yi is preparing to test the ratio of time between the library and the outside world, so he has no energy to study this subject. Li Yi changed the bookshelf and took out a book with a blue cover. Ancient History of the Borsai Stars. A flash of novelty flashed in Li Yi's eyes. He opened the history book and read it curiously. Li Yi made some rough experimental estimates. I found that the time ratio between the library and the outside world is about 10 to 1. That is to say, if you spend 10 days in this library, the outside world will only pass 1 day. The content stored in each bookshelf is classified into categories: mathematics, physics, biology, history, novels, all-encompassing. I don't know why. This is the alien language used in the book. Li Yi can understand it, and his memory has become very good. It is not very difficult to absorb this knowledge. This mysterious black tattoo not only gives him a library, but also transforms his brain? Li Yi was surprised to guess so. Li Yi carried on a book of Principles of Multi-Core Algorithms for in-depth reading. Li Yi is a third-year student in the Department of Computer Science at CUHK. This book, Principles of Multi-Core Algorithms, fits his major and is just right for him to study. There are many computer algorithms, sorting algorithms, graph theory algorithms, backtracking algorithms, character matching algorithms, flow-related algorithms, etc. Different algorithms have different pertinence and characteristics. Multi-calculation rules are suitable for the development of intelligent programs. It is suitable for multi-element homonuclear calculation. I don't know how long has passed. Li Yi read through the entire book Principles of Multi-Core Algorithms in one breath, and easily absorbed all the knowledge points of this book. The learning process is not disturbed, the energy is unlimited, tireless, it is very easy to immerse in, focus on learning. The learning process is many times easier than in the classroom, and the understanding of various knowledge points is more profound. In reality, Li Yi opened his eyes and woke up. Picking up the phone by the bedside, she checked the time. It's only been more than half an hour, and the roommates haven't come back. Li Yi thought and recalled carefully, and various core knowledge points of multi-core algorithms emerged very clearly. In just over half an hour, a complex algorithm was won, which is incredibly efficient. Li Yi was overjoyed and continued to enter the library to read new books. Old Li, wake up, it's time to eat. Zhang Heidao woke Li Yi by the bed. Li Yi woke up, all his roommates came back, he took his phone to check the time. It is already 1 o'clock noon. Li Yi got up and took a shower. After sending the meal money to Zhang Heidao, Li Yi started to eat. After eating, he lay down on the bed and continued to enter the library. Seeing Li Yi sleeping soundly on the bed again, Zhang Heidao and the others looked at each other and were very surprised. Damn it! Old Li is asleep again. This guy has been working for more than 10 hours today, so there won't be any problems. Lin Hang said with some concern. There must be something wrong. When he wakes up, let him go to the hospital for a check. Zhang Heidao frowned and sighed. The three no longer pay attention to Li Yi. Those who write programs and those who read books each do their own work. Time flickered, 3 or 4 hours passed. Li Yi rolled over and sat up, stretched out comfortably, his head was heavy, and he was not as energetic as he had just woken up. After tens of hours of continuous learning of new knowledge, all of which are new programming languages, new algorithms, and professional knowledge in computing, Li Yi feels that his brain power is exhausted and he can't continue any longer. He needs to take a break. Old Li, you are awake. If you don't wake up, we're going to take you to the hospital. Zhang Heidao turned around and said worriedly. Li Yi was taken aback and asked in surprise, "What's wrong? Isn't it okay for me? You have slept for more than 10 hours in a row, we are afraid that you will die." Lin Hang explained with a smile. "I'm fine, but I'm a little sleepy, and I don't have any problems with my body." Li Yi smiled and explained quickly. "Old Li, you'd better go to the hospital for a checkup. If there is any hidden disease, find it early and treat it early," Zhang Heidao reminded with concern. "I'm really not sick, I know what's going on, don't worry about it." Li Yi couldn't help crying, so he quickly comforted him. After speaking, Li Yi rolled over from the bed, went to the toilet, and then walked to the computer desk, opened the notebook, called up the experimental program, and started the experimental operation. Li Yi put his hands on the keyboard, and a burst of keyboard tapping sounded. In less than half an hour, Li Yi finished the programming experiment assignment in the computer class. After learning several special algorithms and new programming languages, Li Yi has a deeper understanding of algorithm logic and programming language structure. There is a kind of learning advanced cheats, and then looking at the professional knowledge you have learned now, the difficulty is lower by several levels, making the originally difficult programming assignments very easy, and the programming experiment assignments that used to take several hours to complete. Li Yi spent less than half an hour and easily won it. After finishing the programming experiment assignment, Li Yi was still in the mood. He opened the programming development tool Visual Code and planned to try to write a small tool by himself. The crackling keyboard tapping sound was as dense as rain. Zhang Heidao, Lin Hang, and Lu Wenfan all looked at him in surprise. Soon, the three walked behind Li Yi and gathered around to watch. I saw that on the screen, lines of code continued to appear, gradually forming sections of complex and sophisticated programs. Zhang Heidao and the others were collectively stunned. Li Yi wrote programs in C++, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. However, they couldn't understand what he wrote. "Old Li, what did you write?" Lin Hang couldn't help but ask. "I'm working on a small tool, a library package for adding new algorithms." Li Yi explained with a smile. "New algorithm? What new algorithm? C++ library, Python package can't be downloaded from the internet." Lin Hang was slightly stunned, more confused, and asked inexplicably. "Programming languages such as C++, Python, standard libraries, and data packages only provide some basic requirements, not all items, need to add new algorithms, special functions, etc., need more functions, can only rely on the introduction of third-party libraries/bag. The new algorithms learned from the library are not found in human civilization. Therefore, to use these special algorithms, Li Yi needs to compile a small tool to store these new algorithms. It's nothing, I'll just play around, develop a small tool, and find something to do for myself." Li Yi smiled and made a random excuse to introduce it. "Grass. You're really busy enough, have you done your programming?" Zhang Heidao scolded with a smile. Well, it's already done. Li Yi responded with a smile without turning his head. It's so fast, it's all right, old Li. I've been writing for an afternoon, and I've been stuck with a bug. Can you help me take a look? Zhang Heidao was surprised and asked quickly. And mine, and I too. Once I run the test, I can't get through. I don't know what went wrong. Lu Wenfan asked with a sullen face. One duck is chasing, and two ducks are also chasing. Li Yi simply nodded and replied with a smile, okay, bring them all. Hearing that, Zhang Heidao and Lu Wenfan hurried to get their notebooks, and then showed Li Yi the code program of the experiment respectively. Heidao, you add the loop index value index in this program loop, p equals p plus index, you can't get it when you take the third structure value, here, the third index value is 2, access the third the structure element fails, p points to an unknown area, because A has only 3 elements. Therefore, another identical pointer p2 must be declared here, and each assignment is p and index instead of changing p each time. Lin Hang, your bug is here. This data must be written in binary, so that the data obtained through this algorithm can run normally. After reading the code program written by the two of them, Li Yi immediately found out the bug. Zhang Heidao took the notebook and tested the modified program, which was running normally. It's over, that's okay. Old Li, when did you become so powerful? You are awesome. Zhang Heidao praised excitedly. Lin Hang looked at Li Yi in surprise and nodded in approval. His program bug was also solved by Li Yi, which was too efficient. Let's go to dinner, come back to right after eating. Lu Wenfan reminded. Li Yi hurriedly stopped typing the code, changed his shoes, left the dormitory with the 3 roommates, and went to the cafeteria. During dinner time, the campus was very lively. Groups of roommates, couples in pairs, boys and girls are all at the age of youth. After dinner, he returned to the dormitory. Li Yi couldn't wait to continue writing programs, and he wanted to use the new algorithm he had learned. The origin of this black tattoo is mysterious, I don't know when it will disappear, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow, maybe for a lifetime, everything is full of unknowns, but the knowledge learned from the library is real. Taking advantage of this moment of deep memory, Li Yi is going to write down the new knowledge he has learned one by one. Until late at night, Zhang Heidao and the others watched Li Yi sitting at the computer desk typing codes. Crackling. The sound of tapping the keyboard was as dense as rain, and it was continuous. Old Li, it's almost time to turn off the lights and go to bed, why don't you do it tomorrow? Zhang Heidao looked at Li Yi and reminded him. Yet. Li Yi nodded and stopped helplessly. I don't know what's going on. At this moment, my thoughts are flooding, and the process of writing the program has become extremely smooth. It's like taking medicine. In the past, I was stuck, my thinking was rigid, and everything no longer existed. It was like a patient with long-term constipation. The child is smooth, the kind of smooth and refreshing, very high, and people are reluctant to stop for a moment. Seeing that all the roommates were lying on the bed, Li Yi hurriedly went to the toilet to wash up, and then lay down on the bed. With a pop, Zhang Heidao pressed the light switch, and the dormitory suddenly darkened. Li Yi, who was lying on the bed first, fell asleep in seconds. No, his consciousness appeared in the library. Before Zhang Heidao turned off the lights, Li Yi stared at the black tattoo on his wrist. His consciousness came directly from the library, and he was going to look for books on programming. Soon, Li Yi took a book called Three-Dimensional Particle Deduction Law from the bookshelf dedicated to algorithm programming books and looked through it. In this mysterious book, there seems to be a certain pattern in the arrangement of books on the shelf. The contents of the books are somewhat related, arranged from easy to difficult. The content of this three-dimensional particle deduction law is related to the book Li Yi read before, and many knowledge points are extensions of the previous book. Li Yi devoted himself to it, turning page after page, constantly absorbing the knowledge in the book. Time flies, 2 weeks have passed. The rhythm of Li Yi's campus life has undergone tremendous changes. During the day, when he was in class, Li Yi chose a hidden position in the back row, which was convenient for lying on the desk and sleeping through the lessons. Gradually, Li Yi gained the title of sleeping god in the class. When he returned to the dormitory, Li Yi sat in front of the computer desk, crackling typing codes and writing programs, to the point of forgetting to sleep and eat. In just over half a month, Li Yi seemed to be a different person. He stopped swiping his mobile phone and didn't like to go out. He sat at the computer desk every day, typing codes, and completely turned into an IT nerd who likes to sleep in class. Zhang Heidao, Lin Hang, and Lu Wenfan were very surprised at the changes in Li Yi. They watched it silently and did not persuade them too much. After all, this was Li Yi's personal choice, and they had no reason to intervene. In the blink of an eye, it was the weekend again, a quiet afternoon. In the dormitory, Li Yi, who was busy at the computer desk, typed the last code and completed the modification of the program. The algorithm addition tool runs the test normally. Li Yi stretched comfortably, feeling extremely happy. With the study of these days, Li Yi has learned more than a dozen new algorithms in the library. These algorithms must be added. At the same time, it is necessary to ensure that they are compatible and error-free. With the backing of these new algorithms and the knowledge of countless books in the library, Li Yi feels that no matter what software program he writes in the future, he can easily win it. Li Yi opened an empty package document, intending to design and develop a new software, ready to apply what he has learned and become familiar with the application of the new algorithm. Then here comes the problem. What kind of software do you write? For a while, Li Yi had no idea. Old Li, what are you thinking? Are you done writing? Zhang Heidao walked past Li Yi and asked curiously. Well, I'm done. Now I want to write something new, but I don't have any clues. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Li Yi leaned back in his chair and responded. Hearing this, Lin Hang was speechless for a while, and said depressedly, "Why are you so tired? Old Chen can't finish his experimental homework? Do you still have time to do other things? Will it be difficult?" "I'm done," Li Yi asked with a slight smile. The operation experiments assigned by Professor Chen were easily solved by Li Yi. "I'm going, Lao Li, you sleep right after class, and you haven't listened to what Lao Chen taught. How did you do it? Did you learn it in a dream?" Lu Wenfan asked with envy and jealousy. Li Yi laughed and was really hit by Lu Wenfan. The knowledge learned in the library is much more difficult than Professor Chen's course. Perhaps because the brain has been strengthened, Li Yi took the time to complete the course, and the knowledge in the textbook did not feel any difficulty. The group of guys in the class called you Sleeping God, and they all waited for the final exam to see your jokes. It seems that their ideas are going to fail. Zhang Hengtao looked at Li Yi and laughed. Really? I don't even know. Li Yi laughed dumbly. Old Li, your programming skills are advancing by leaps and bounds, do you understand penetration techniques? Lin Hang looked at Li Yi and asked suddenly. Li Yi was slightly taken aback, and quickly said, I understand a little bit, why? The new algorithms and programming techniques learned in the library are not a problem for network penetration. If you understand, go to Hackron and have a look. Maybe you can use your abilities to make money. Lin Hang suggested. Hackron? What website? Li Yi asked in surprise, then followed Lin Hang's instructions to search for this website on the search interface. When the website opens, it is a hacker website, a place where hackers from all over the world learn from each other, publish and receive tasks. After opening the website and browsing for a while, Li Yi immediately understood what Lin Hang meant. On this hacking website, there are many internet companies that issue testing tasks. Once they can find system vulnerabilities or complete some development work, they can get a lot of money. Li Yi couldn't help but be moved. Li Yi's hometown is in the countryside, his parents are working in other places, and he has a younger sister who is in high school. His family is not rich. Li Yi would never want to miss this opportunity to practice skills and earn money at the same time. Lin Hang, thank you, I know what to do. Li Yi looked at Lin Hang and said happily. You're welcome. Lin Hang smiled and waved his hand. Li Yi decided to give it a try and develop a vulnerability scanning tool to scan various sub-functions of the program to find system vulnerabilities. Li Yi thought about the development ideas, and soon began to write various functions of the vulnerability scanning tool, such as domain name crawling and injection, port scanning, directory blasting, subnet service detection, port scanning, etc. Dozens of the functional modules form a precise software architecture. Li Yi's brain is running at a high speed. He writes a functional module, a corresponding algorithm immediately emerges, and various codes and data symbols emerge, constantly improving the implementation of this function. Soon, the sound of crackling keyboard tapping sounded like rain. Looking at Li Yi sitting in front of the computer desk, his eyes lit up, and he wrote faster and faster. Zhang Heidao, Lin Hang, and Lu Wenfen glanced at each other, and came around curiously. This guy Li Yi. This is going against this guy. I saw that while Li Yi was writing development documents, he typed the code as soon as he wrote the code, and soon he was able to write a prototype copy for the development of a software. Soon, Li Yi wrote the draft of the development document, opened the editing tool, and officially entered the programming state. On the LCD screen, various code symbols form lines of code, pouring down like a waterfall. Damn it! Old Li, how did you practice your hand speed? You're so perverted. Don't you have to think about errors? Can the code written like this work? Is the algorithm okay? Seeing Li Yi's 10 fingers flying quickly on the keyboard, Lin Hang and Lu Wenfen couldn't help but ask. Li Yi focused on writing code and devoted himself to it, as if he hadn't heard it and turned a deaf ear. Zhang Heidao stopped Lu Wenfen, who was going to pull Li Yi, and reminded in a low voice, "Old Li is busy. Let's not disturb him." Hearing this, Lin Hang and Lu Wenfen nodded silently, and watched around behind Li Yi for a while. Their eyes gradually became dull, as if they had been severely hit. Li Yi writes code very fast, and the algorithms used to write the code are very complex, and some of them can't understand it. Lao Li, you are using Java. When did you learn it? Damn, this guy is hiding. Lin Hang, Lu Wenfen was dumbfounded and said incredulously. Living in the same dormitory and studying in the same classroom, it was only today that they found out that Li Yizan's programming ability was far beyond their level, which made them unacceptable for a while. Okay. We are normal people, not like perverts. Zhang Heidao patted the two of them on the shoulders, smiling comfortingly. Lin Hang and Lu Wenfen nodded their heads. During this period of time, Li Yi was working hard in the dormitory. They were there for everyone to see. Damn, genius or something. The most annoying. The three watched behind Li Yi for a while, then walked away dejectedly, not to disturb Li Yi. You said, is Li Yi secretly working hard while we are sleeping? Otherwise, why did he suddenly become so powerful? Lin Hang looked at Lu Wenfen and Zhang Heidao asked. Yet. Li Yi fell asleep as soon as he was in class. Is that the reason for staying up late at night? Lu Wenfen looked at Zhang Heidao and asked guessingly. Zhang Heidao frowned, shook his head and said, I've never met him before. When I woke up in the middle of the night, I found that Li Yi slept heavier than you guys. What about you? After speaking, Zhang Heidao looked at the two and asked. Lin Hang and Lu Wenfen looked at each other and shook their heads. They didn't notice that Li Yi woke up in the middle of the night and worked hard. Li Yi almost slept on the bed. He could sleep in the morning, but no noise could wake him up. The quality of sleep was so good. The alarm clock in the morning hardly wakes him. There are only 24 hours in a day. Li Yi sleeps in class during the day, and the quality of sleep at night is surprisingly good. He can sleep for more than 10 hours a day. He has little time to study, deduct, eat, wash, and write code. Phew! The three of them looked at each other, sighed helplessly, and discussed the topic of Li Yi's secret efforts, but ended without a hitch. It can only be said that Li Yi's programming level has improved by leaps and bounds, and it is because of his extraordinary talent that he is born suitable for this meal. Time flies, a month has passed in a blink of an eye. Li Yi, who saw the Qian scene, took a more passionate attitude than writing programming algorithm tools, and devoted himself to the development of vulnerability scanning tools. During this period, Li Yi joined several hacker technology groups, and as a newcomer, he asked the tech giants in the group for some technical questions, and then inquired about ways to make money and contact information. A month later, the mysterious black tattoo is still engraved on Li Yi's wrist. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com has not changed. During this period, Li Yi entered the library countless times, and gradually, he found out the situation of this library. The mysterious library, with countless books, is endless, and there is no way to count how many books there are. At the same time, the library has a certain intelligence. It can provide books with corresponding learning difficulty according to its own knowledge reserve. It is like a caring teacher who arranges the most suitable books for him nearby. For example, Li Yi only learned calculus in mathematics, and the library will provide books related to calculus, such as multivariable calculus, triple integral, and deeper mathematics books are grayed out and cannot be read. As for some entertainment books on politics, history, novels, geography, and popular science, there are a small number of special books that cannot be read, and most of them are readable. However, Li Yi is more inclined to read books on learning technology and basic subjects, and has no intention to pay attention to those entertainment works. Since he is fully developing a vulnerability scanning tool, Li Yi spends most of his time reading algorithms and programming books related to computers. With the passage of time, Li Yi researched and deepened his research. He continued to learn new algorithms and programming techniques. The original development plan was revised and improved continuously. Compared with the original development plan, the vulnerability scanning function became more and more powerful. After a month of delay, Li Yi failed to write the vulnerability scanning tool. However, Li Yi feels that the vulnerability scanning tool development plan has been changed to the most perfect state. Next, as long as each module is clearly written and perfectly connected, a powerful vulnerability scanning tool can be obtained. With light in his eyes, Li Yi typed the code excitedly and did the finishing touches. The vulnerability scanning tool has been written. Li Yi started the test. Log into the HackRoan platform, register an account, log into the platform, enter the vulnerability public testing project initiated by a company, and obtain the IP address of the relevant server. Next, Li Yi launches his self-made vulnerability scanning tool with one click. The next second, the green code waterfall frantically emerged, the vulnerability scanning tool ran smoothly, and each submodule began to work to analyze the vulnerability of the service site. Fengwu Technology, a listed software company headquartered in Magic City, aims to promote the deep integration of informatization and industrialization, and improve the level of urban intelligence. Its business covers steel, transportation, medicine, chemical industry, finance, and other industries, and it is deeply involved in software. In the field, he has the ultimate pursuit of software security and system security. Zhang Peiyang, the head of Fengwu Science and Technology Department, just like in the past, turned on the computer as soon as possible after going to work, checked his mailbox, reviewed the work progress of his subordinates, and planned the next step. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door, interrupting Zhang Peiyang's thoughts. "Come in." Zhang Peiyang raised his eyes and looked out the door. "Brother Yang, it's not good. A lot of bugs have been found in the Rongcheng Smart Cloud project. After fixing these bugs, the workload is almost equivalent to knocking it down and redoing it. A young man with sparse hair, Zhao Ziawei, pushed in the door and reported with a sad face. Rongcheng Wisdom Cloud? Which project is open for public testing on the platform? Zhang Peiyong looked at Zhao Ziawei calmly and asked. Yes. A master has uncovered a lot of loopholes. Zhao Ziawei confirmed with a bitter face. Zhang Peiyong quickly opened the platform and logged into the background. The next moment, the website backend displays a piece of vulnerability data, RCE vulnerability, SQL injection vulnerability, account hijacking vulnerability, CORS, CSRF, source code leak, rate limit, etc., a total of 227 vulnerabilities. Zhang Peiyong saw his scalp go numb. There are so many? Real or fake? Zhang Peiyong was full of disbelief, and clicked on the data of an RCE vulnerability. This vulnerability targets a subdomain target, and its .git directory was discovered when using derb to explode the directory. When using in-depth detection, the post parameters of the call were not filtered and audited, and it was associated with a remote code execution vulnerability. Zhang Peiyong's expression tightened, and according to the vulnerability description above, he immediately started the test. Zhang Peiyong put his hands on the keyboard and made a burst of operations. Soon, according to the description of the vulnerability, he directly cut into the vulnerability of the Rongcheng Smart Cloud project. Oh shit! There really is this loophole. Zhang Peiyong panicked and continued to test the next loophole without any faith. Soon, Zhang Peiyong demonstrated according to the description of the vulnerability discoverer, and successfully obtained all the source code of the application service on the site. This vulnerability is much more serious than the previous RCE vulnerability. A drop of cold sweat fell on Zhang Peiyong's forehead. If this vulnerability is not discovered, once the project is launched, it will be exploited, which will seriously threaten the data security of customers. Zhang Peiyong took a deep breath and continued to look at the next loophole. This is an account hijacking vulnerability. By replacing the email address with the email address of another user, the password contained in the request package can be used to replace and change the account password of others. The whole process does not require any verification mechanism. Zhang Peiyong continuously tested 5 or 6 loopholes, and each loophole was real. Very good. Zhang Peiyong was both angry and happy, and his mood was very complicated. The reason for his anger is that his technical team wrote a bug with many loopholes, which is simply a pile of rubbish. The reason for the happiness is that these problems were found out, which avoided handing them over to customers and created huge hidden dangers. Brother Yang, what do you do next? Zhao Ziawei asked anxiously, looking at Zhang Peiyong's angry face. What to do? What to do? Everyone helped us find the loopholes, why don't you just leave it alone? Tell everyone to gather in the conference room. Zhang Pei shouted in a desperate manner. Okay. Zhao Ziawei bowed in response and left the office as if fleeing. Zhang Peiyong stood up and rushed to the conference room to arrange revision tasks. Not long after, in the conference room, there were bursts of mourning from the programmers. There are more than 200 loopholes to be corrected within the specified time limit. The huge workload and the long-term overtime work, weekends, holidays, etc., are destined for a period of time in the future. Don't even think about it. Watching his subordinates leave one by one in despair, Zhang Peiyong also had a sad face. He originally planned to spend the weekend with his daughter on her birthday. If the project had such a serious problem, he, the person in charge, would definitely not be able to leave. Brother Yang, how should the bug finder be rewarded? If there are more than 200 bugs, if the reward is too much, the financial side will definitely not approve the money. Zhao Ziawei looked at Zhang Peiyong nervously and asked for instructions. Hearing this, Zhang Peiyong's face became even more ugly. Generally speaking, digging a loophole will usually give the discoverer several thousand or even tens of thousands of bonuses. If it is replaced by international giants such as Microsoft and Apple, if a major loophole is discovered, they can even get hundreds of thousands or even tens of millions of bonuses. The unit is still the US knife. The reward of several thousand yuan for a bug is very small. Even if a loophole is only given a few thousand, more than 200 loopholes will cost nearly 1 million. For the company, it is a large unexpected expenditure. It is strange that the financial manager does not bother him. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Moreover, the money has to be given. This guy can find so many loopholes. He must be a master of technology. Who knows, does he have other loopholes in his hands? It is not appropriate to give less, and the finances will not approve if you give too much. Thinking of this question, Zhang Peiyong was overwhelmed. Brother Yang, if it's all right, I'll go to work first. Seeing Zhang Peiyong's face getting worse and worse, Zhao Ziawei hurriedly said goodbye. Wait a minute, I have a task for you. Zhang Peiyong quickly stopped Zhao Ziawei. Zhao Ziawei paused, showing a remorseful face, wishing he could slap himself. I want you to talk more. Now, here comes the mission. Brother Yang, what is the mission? Zhao Ziawei turned around and asked with a wry smile. You can get in touch with this expert and get a price cut. Zhang Peiyong arranged. Brother Yang, I don't know how to bargain. Why don't you talk to him in person? Zhao Ziawei looked embarrassed, it was hard to say. You talk to him first, if you can't reach an agreement, I'll go out. There must be a transition, understand? Zhang Peiyong looked at Zhao Ziawei and reminded. Okay. Brother Yang, what are your expectations for bargaining? Zhao Ziawei nodded and asked. Of course, the fewer the better. A loophole is 2 or 3,000, and a serious one is less than 10,000. Try it and see if you can talk about it. Zhang Peiyong replied. Brother Yang, this is too little. Can he agree? Zhao Ziawei scratched his head, feeling that this task was very difficult. Do your best. Such a large expenditure will definitely be deducted from the project bonus. For everyone's bonus, please do your best. I really can't talk about it, I will talk about it again. Zhang Peiyong encouraged. When such a big pot was smashed down, Zhao Ziawei was instantly stunned, confused, and walked out of the conference room somehow. Through the contact information provided by the platform, Zhao Ziawei added the QQ of the Vulnerability Explorer, nicknamed the hacker named Muzi. The application for adding friends was quickly approved. Hello, I'm Xiao Zhao from Fenggu Technology. Thank you very much for your vulnerability submission. Your technical ability is very strong. Zhao Ziawei organized the language and sent a message. According to Zhao Ziawei, submitting 227 vulnerabilities at once is definitely not something that one person can do, but a strong technical team. System vulnerability mining. At present, there is no solution for automatic vulnerability mining, and there is no program for automatic vulnerability mining. There are only some ideas, methods, and auxiliary tools for vulnerability mining, which still have to rely on manual analysis. The ideas and methods of vulnerability mining vary from person to person. However, there are generally traces of vulnerability mining methods, including patch comparison and testing techniques, both of which are extremely time-consuming and labor-intensive mining modes. Therefore, only a strong technical team can dig out more than 200 loopholes in such a short period of time. 407 Dormitory. Li Yi was sitting in front of the computer desk. The LCD screen, densely packed with codes, was running automatically, digging for loopholes in another project. After receiving this message, Li Yi was refreshed and quickly pressed pause. Thank you, are those bugs okay? How much is the bonus? When will it be distributed? Li Yi couldn't wait to reply to the message and went straight to the topic. Upon receiving such straightforward news, Zhao Ziawei couldn't help rolling his eyes. Great God, the number of bugs you provided is a bit too much, and I can't settle it for you at the regular price. A normal bug is 3,000 yuan, and a serious bug is 8,000 yuan. Can you accept it? In order not to be deducted too much from the project bonus, Zhao Ziyi bit. Grit your teeth, be ruthless, edit your message and send a reply. The message was sent, but there was no reply from the other party for a long time. Zhao Ziyi's heart suddenly rose, and he was nervous. Is it because the price is lower and the other party is not satisfied? Great God, if you are not satisfied, you can discuss the price again. Zhao Ziyi hurriedly sent another message to comfort him. If the technical team that can dig so many loopholes offends the other party and secretly teaches them a lesson, the consequences should not be too serious. I'm sorry, I was busy with something just now, so let's take this price. No problem. Just when Zhao Ziyi was hesitating whether to requote, he suddenly received a message from the other party. Accepted? Great. Looking at the content in the chat box, Zhao Ziyi was overjoyed. Okay, thank you, God, we will confirm the vulnerability here. If there is no problem, the bonus will be called to you next week. Please provide your bank account. Zhao Ziyi said excitedly. Well. After receiving the money, I will send you the next batch of loopholes at this price. The next second, seeing the other party's reply, the smile on Zhao Ziyi's face froze. What? There is the next batch of loopholes, how is that possible? Zhao Ziyi patted his frozen face with both hands, forcing himself to calm down. Great God, you're not kidding. There are still a batch of loopholes? How many are there? Zhao Xiaofeng asked with concern, with a smile that was uglier than crying. More than 300. We have found more than 600 in total. Your project has a lot of loopholes. Seeing this heart-wrenching reply, Zhao Ziyi's eyes darkened and his heart ached. There are more than 600 loopholes in total, and there are still so many. Their entire technical team, more than 40 people, spent a year and a half, day and night, and worked the development project, but there are so many loopholes. Their project bonuses will all be earned by this guy. Zhao Ziyi wanted to cry without tears. It's really terrible news. I want to ask the leader for instructions, and I'll get back to you later. Zhao Heidao couldn't hold back, so he sent a message, and hurriedly left the station to find the leader. Okay. Li Yi smiled and replied a word in the chat column. Then, Li Yi continued to start the vulnerability scanning tool and let it detect the vulnerabilities of another project by itself. Get rich. Li Yi looked at the LCD screen with an irresistible smile on his face. On the LCD screen, the green code cascades, and red codes appear from time to time, and the red code groups are potential vulnerabilities found by the vulnerability scanning tool. 5,000 yuan for a loophole was dug. This kind of speed of making money, robbing a bank, digging gold mines is not so fast, and it is completely legal. More than 2 hours passed. Li Yi received information from Fenggu Technology again. Zhang Peiyong personally went out to communicate with Li Yi. Shuang went through some negotiation and finally decided to buy all the vulnerability data from Li Yi at the price of 2 million, after tax, bonus. Thank you Muzi, I look forward to our next cooperation. Zhang Peiyong thanked him gratefully. 638 loopholes can be taken down at such a low price, which is beyond Zhang Peiyong's expectations. I am sincerely grateful to Muzi. You're welcome. When you release new projects, remember to notify me. Li Yi replied to the message with a smile. He earned 2 million in one fell swoop, and it was as difficult as picking it up for nothing. Li Yi felt a little embarrassed that the other party thanked him so much. No problem, the next project was originally going to be tested internally. When the time comes, I'll send you an invitation. Zhang Peiyong was overjoyed and decided to arrange it. The great god Musa seemed to be young, but he was very good at speaking, and Zhang Peiyong was a little flattered by his good attitude. The two sides ended the exchange very happily, and then signed an electronic contract on an online third-party platform. Li Yi submitted all the loopholes here, and Zhang Peiyong urged the finance to pay. The next day, after school in the afternoon. On the way to the cafeteria, Li Yi's cell phone suddenly ding, Yu reading www.yuuganchu.com received a text message. Ding, transaction reminder, your account, *5431, transfer 2 million, transaction party, Fenggu Technology Information Co., Limited, balance. Li Yi picked up the phone and glanced at it. A series of zeros came into view, which were notices from the bank. Li Yi was ecstatic. 2 million has arrived. Get rich. He had never seen so much money in his life, and suddenly he had so much money in his bank card. Li Yi danced with excitement and was a little overwhelmed. Walking on the road, Li Yi suddenly became elated, dancing. He had to dance disco. Zhang Heidao, Lin Hang and Lu Wenfen looked at each other, not knowing why. Old Li, what's wrong with you? Are your feet cramping? Zhang Heidao asked with a teasing smile. Ha ha ha, your foot cramps look like this. Li Yi was amused and asked with a big laugh. Fuck. What's the happy event? So happy, share it with us. Zhang Heidao scolded with a smile and asked. Li Yi smiled and restrained his smile. I made some money, I just received it, I'll treat you to supper tonight. Hearing this, Zhang Heidao, Lin Hang, and Lu Wenfen were all overjoyed. Old Li, did you earn it on the Hackroan platform? How much did you earn? Did it exceed 10,000? Lin Hang looked at Li Yi and asked with concern. Yeah. Thank you Lin Hang for your introduction. Li Yi nodded with a smile and said gratefully. 2 million is a huge sum of money, and Li Yi still understands the truth that money is not revealed, but he did not dare to tell his roommates. Seeing that Li Yi was unwilling to reveal how much money he earned, Zhang Heidao and the others were very sensible, so they did not continue to ask questions, and instead discussed the arrangement of supper in the evening. The first time I made money was 2 million, and the next 2 million is not far away. After earning so much money all at once, Li Yi didn't know how to spend it. Last night, I invited my roommates to have a late-night snack. I spent more than 1,000 yuan, rented 2 sets of cloud servers, and spent more than 3,000 yuan. I bought a few sets of clothes online, 2 pairs of sneakers, and a new mobile phone. A high-end notebook, in total, cost less than 40,000 yuan. Buy a car? Buy a house? Li Yi has no such demand for the time being. I don't know how to drive a car, so I have to take a driver's license test. I don't need to buy a house. After graduation, I don't have to stay in Yangcheng. Besides, with this amount of money to buy a bigger house in Yangcheng, paying a down payment is enough. With so much money back, Li Yi transferred 500,000 yuan to his father's card and 2,000 yuan to his sister, Li Wengziu, on WeChat. As soon as the money was transferred, Li Wengziu immediately sent a video call. Li Yi smiled and connected to the video. On the screen of his mobile phone, a pretty face the size of a slap appeared. His eyebrows were somewhat similar to Li Yi's. Brother, where did you get the money? Dad gave it to you? Li Wengziu asked curiously. No, I earned it myself. Li Yi explained with a smile. What did you earn? How much did you earn? So lavish. Li Wengziu was amazed and asked gushingly. I'll give you the money, just take the flowers, why ask so many questions? I'll hang up if it's nothing. Li Yi said lightly, about to hang up the video. Brother, wait a minute. The screen of my mobile phone is broken. If you want to replace it, you can give me some more. Li Wengziu begged pitifully. If the screen is broken, I won't replace it. What kind of phone should I change? Li Yi frowned. People's mobile phones have been used for 2 years, and the cards are going to die. It's better to buy a new screen after repairing it. Li Wengzihu pouted and retorted. Okay. I'll transfer some for you, save some money. Li Yi closed the video and transferred another sum of money. Soon, Li Wengzihu on the other end of the phone received 3,000 transfers. Li Wengzihu opened her mouth slightly in surprise. Unexpectedly, the always stingy old brother suddenly became so arrogant, and transferred a total of 5,000 yuan to her. Li Wengzihu was extremely happy, and at the same time extremely curious. Thank you, brother, how much money did you earn? Tell me. Li Wengzihu couldn't help but asked curiously. It's inconvenient. Thank you. Li Yi refused decisively. If she knew that she had earned 2 million, it would definitely be endless. Li Wengzihu sent a series of ellipses. Li Yi smiled, ignored it, closed WeChat, and called his father, Li Yunshun. The call was quickly connected, and Li Yunshun asked in a trembling voice, Xiao I just received 50W in my bank card. Did you transfer it? Where did you get so much money? That's right, I made it from writing software. You and your mother won't have to work so hard in the future. I'll be able to earn money. Li Yi replied with a smile. Really or not? Can you make so much money by writing software? Li Yunshun was surprised and asked inquisitively. Really, I can earn more in the future. Li Yi said confidently. With the endless alien books in the library, Li Yi believes that as long as he is not diligent and motivated, the future will definitely get better and better. How much money he can earn in the future is secondary. Extraterrestrial technology is invented to change the world and lead the trend of science and technology. Only in this way can life have meaning. Li Yi thought so. Okay, haven't you graduated yet? Will it delay your studies? Li Yunshun asked with concern when he heard the surprise. No. I'm studying well. Don't delay. Li Yi smiled and comforted. That's fine, I'll keep the money for you to marry a wife. Li Yunshun said happily. No, you can spend the money, you can buy a house or a car, it's not enough for me to have it. Li Yi quickly advised. Okay, if you have the money, how about rebuilding the old house in your hometown? Li Yunshun suggested. Okay, look at the arrangement, don't tell me if it's not enough. Li Yi agreed. The vulnerability detection tool is a gold mine excavator. If the family needs it, let it continue to dig gold. It is not a problem to satisfy my father's small wish. Okay, I'll discuss it with your mother, then let's hang up. Li Yunshun said happily. After hanging up the phone, Li Yi was full of joy. It is a very happy thing to satisfy his family with his own abilities. After the phone call, Li Yi returned to the dormitory from the corridor. Zhang Heidao, Lin Hang and the others were all at the computer desk, busy doing programming experiments. Li Yi also sat down at the computer desk and quickly did the programming experiment. Sleeping in class is not a problem. The key is to hand in homework. Usually homework may be linked to the final exam, and it may become one of the content of the final score. In half a month's time for the final exam, Li Yi is confident that he will take all the subjects. Being called the sleeping god by the classmates in the class has no negative impact on him. Li Yi didn't take it to heart. The competition in the university is self-learning ability. Crackling, there was a sound of keyboard tapping, and within a few minutes, Li Yi solved the programming assignment left by the computer teacher. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. The code side running test results were normal. In an instant, Li Yi copied the code segment into a document, changed the name, and sent it to the job group. Seeing that Li Yi finished the experiment in 2 or 3 times, Zhang Heidao, who was sitting in front of the computer, showed a constipated face. Old Li, you're done? I can't find any bugs in this program. I would like to trouble you to help. Zhang Heidao looked at Li Yi, helplessly asking for help. If you don't want to go down at night, bring me a meal. Li Yi asked. No problem. I'll have dinner. Zhang Heidao responded without hesitation, took his notebook, and walked up to Li Yi. Li Yi looked at Zhang Heidao's laptop screen, tested the running status of the code segment, and saw the problem at a glance. This bug is due to operator overloading, which requires the use of member functions. The friend function is actually equivalent to a function that is not a class, so it cannot call its own this. You are using it wrong here. Li Yi pointed to a certain piece of code, reminded. It turned out to be the reason. I understand. Zhang Heidao immediately understood. Zhang Heidao took his notebook and left with a face full of regret, blaming himself for being too careless. Li Yi smiled, opened the vulnerability scanning tool, and continued to dig the gold mine. To be honest, it is quite rewarding to do it once or twice to make money by digging loopholes. However, after doing it for a long time, Li Yi feels that it is a waste of time. There are countless valuable knowledge in the library waiting for him to learn, which will waste his time. Digging for loopholes is a bit of a loss. I have to figure out a way. If this matter is handed over to others, I won't have time. This thought suddenly popped into his mind, and he couldn't stop it. Li Yi thought about it seriously, and the more he thought about it, the more he was moved. Who to ask for help? Looking at the three busy roommates, Li Yi couldn't help frowning. Usually I am very nervous about studying, so let them mix in. I am afraid that it will delay their study. In addition, it is a bit sensitive when it comes to money, and it is easy to cause unnecessary disturbances if it is not handled well. After a little thought, Li Yi dismissed the idea of asking his roommates to help. Start a company and ask for help? This seems to be possible. With the efficiency of scanning tools to find vulnerabilities, it is absolutely impossible to start a small company. Thinking of this, Li Yi couldn't help but be moved. In the future, the knowledge learned from the library needs to be transformed into technological products, and a company will also be needed in the future. It seems that it is inevitable to start a company. Li Yi made up his mind and prepared to take some time to implement this matter. Saturday afternoon. Li Yi left the campus and went to a cafe alone. Not long after, Li Yi's cell phone rang. Hello, is that Miss Lin? I was in the cafe, wearing a white t-shirt. Yes, I saw you. Li Yi answered the phone and waved to the door. I saw a young girl in business attire walking towards Li Yi with a smile. She was a little surprised by Li Yi's youth, but Lin Miu still sat in front of Li Yi with a smile. Mr. Li, you are sure to register the company on your behalf. Bring the information. Take it, please take a seat, Miss Lin. What would you like to drink? Order a cup of coffee for you. Li Yi said politely. Thank you. Lin Miu said thanks. Li Yi went to the cashier to order 2 cups of coffee, and sat down in front of Lin Miu again. Mr. Li, our company provides the service of anchoring addresses. Do you have any needs in this regard? Lin Miu looked at Li Yi and asked. No need, I will rent an office. Li Yi waved his hand. Okay, please hurry up and send me the address. How much do you intend to fill in the registered capital? Do you need any advance funds? Lin Miu nodded and asked. 1 million, no need to advance. Li Yi smiled confidently. Understood, when the company is registered, the Industry and Commerce Bureau will need to verify the capital, and you will need to deposit the money into the company account. Lin Miu glanced at Li Yi unexpectedly and reminded. No problem, how long does it take for the company to register? Li Yi asked with concern. Approval of the name generally takes 13 working days, and if it fails, it needs to be reproved. It generally takes 515 working days to submit registration materials for review, and it generally takes 12 working days to engrave the seal. Our company has this if you cooperate properly. it can be completed in about 7 working days. Lin Miu introduced. No problem, then please. Li Yi nodded, quite satisfied with the speed. After negotiating the registration of the company, Li Yi left the cafe and immediately walked into a nearby real estate agency, asking a girl named Chen Xiaomei to help find the office. Li Yi wanted to rent an office near the school so that he could come to the classroom from the school. Sorry, Mr. Li, there is no office area within 100 square meters in the nearby office buildings, but at least 200 square meters. Chen Xiaomei said with a wry smile. 200 square meters, how much is the monthly rent? Li Yi frowned and asked with concern. Zheidong building has a superior geographical environment, Zongda University is close at hand, and it is a 3-minute walk from the subway entrance. The view is excellent. The average rent is about 85 yuan per square meter, 200 square meters, and the monthly rent is 17,000 yuan. Chen Xiaomei was refreshed. Introduced. Li Yi thought about it, the price was acceptable. Okay, take me to see it. Li Yi said immediately. Okay, Mr. Li, let's get the key from the property manager's office first, you can come with me. Chen Xiaomei walked in front, excitedly leading the way. Soon, Chen Xiaomei took Li Yi into the Zihai building and looked at the office area. The 200 square meter office area is located on the 15th floor of the building. One office is divided into more than a dozen office areas. It is located in the corner. The smaller one has many small companies working here. Spring and autumn tea industry. Under the leadership of Chen Xiaomei, Li Yi walked into the office area to be rented. One was divided into 1 large and 3 small by glass doors, a hall and 3 small office rooms. The layout of the office was wrong, and it was close to the school, so Li Yi took a fancy to it. It's pretty good, but the rent is a bit expensive, is there anything to talk about? Li Yi said simply. Mr. Li, we can go to the 2nd floor. I'll help you talk to the owner. Chen Xiaomei happily led the way. Li Yi nodded and followed behind Chen Xiaomei. Soon, thanks to Chen Xiaomei's efforts, Li Yi successfully cut the rent to 15,000, with a half-month renovation period. It took nearly an hour to sign and pay, and Li Yi successfully got the key to the office. Next, office chairs, computers, recruiting people, etc., without anyone else's assistance, Li Yi has to do all these things by himself. So, Li Yi is going to recruit personal help first, and there is a resource that can be used right now. The company next door, Dai Fei Makeup, has people coming in and out. Li Yi sees a lot of candidates who come to interview with their resumes. Li Yi went to the 2nd floor, borrowed a printer, typed out a recruitment notice, and posted it in the most conspicuous place outside the office. Then, wait for the fish to take the bait. Sure enough, Li Yi didn't wait long when a young girl poked her head at the door and asked in a timid voice, "Does your company still recruit office clerks?" "Zhao, recruit, come in." Li Yi waved happily. At the same time, with curious eyes, he looked at the hooked fish. The applicant is a young girl of 23 or 4 years old, with a melon face, long hair with bangs, a pair of round glasses, a tall figure, black suit pants and a short white shirt. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com carrying a small black bag and a white portfolio. He is quite normal, and his clothes are not distinctive, but he is young, with a plain face and a very good-looking appearance. Hearing this, the girl applying for the job walked in cautiously with a trace of unease and curiosity. "You also saw that this office was rented by me just today. It's empty. There are no desks and chairs. The interview is going on standing up. Do you mind?" Li Yi asked with a smile. "I don't mind." The girl applying for the job had a flash of enlightenment and quickly waved her hand. "Thank you, is it convenient for me to look at your resume?" Li Yi asked with a smile. "Yeah." The girl who applied for the job nodded in response, and quickly opened the file bag, took out a resume, and handed it over with both hands. Li Yi took the resume and quickly previewed it. Cai Xiao Ei, age, 23, height, 166, weight, 51 kilograms, from Lingdong, College Wenping, majoring in business management, CET 4. Looking at this resume, Li Yi couldn't help laughing. The girl in front of her was a rookie who had just graduated. The resume is good, and I have a few months of work experience. It is very suitable for the position of clerk in our company. I don't know. What do you want to know about our company? I can introduce it to you. Li Yi looked up at Cai Xiao Ei and smiled. Ask. Yet. I want to find out. Cai Xiao Ei looked at Li Yi curiously and nodded. The boy in front of her who looked younger than herself gave her a mature and stable temperament, and he didn't look like a liar company. She has been looking for a job for a while, either in 996 or in sales. She has encountered various pitfalls and has not been able to find a satisfactory job. If the recruitment information posted at the door and the salary package are true, this company can do it. Li Yi organized the language, looked at Cai Xiao Ei and said, before introducing the company, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Li, single name, Yi. I'm a third-year student from the Department of Computing at CUHK next door, and I'm the only one in the company. Boss. Cai Xiao Ei nodded, no wonder he was so young, he was still a student. Li Yi smiled and then introduced, during school, I wrote a software and made profits with this software. The registered company's capital of 1 million is part of it. Next, I need to recruit people. Software makes more money, so the company operates without any problem in terms of profitability. Cai Xiao Ei opened her mouth slightly and looked at Li Yi in disbelief. After working, Cai Xiao Ei was deeply educated by reality. She knew very well how difficult it was to earn money. In his words, earning 1 million was like earning 100 yuan. It was unbelievable. Seeing Cai Xiao Ei's disbelief, Li Yi smiled helplessly, suddenly took out his mobile phone, and showed her the text message of the 2 million transfer. This is a transfer income I just received a few days ago. There will be more in the future. The company will definitely continue to operate. You don't have to worry about that. Li Yi introduced with a smile. Cai Xiao Ei was stunned. If it was true, it would be amazing. After a short pause, Li Yi continued, because the company has just been established, and the office space has just been rented today, so if you are willing to join, you will become the company's first employee, grow with the company, and reap the fruits together. I know, do you want to? Well, I have to do those jobs. Cai Xiao Ei asked with concern. Because I still have classes, I can't stay in the company most of the time, so I need to undertake a lot of things, such as purchasing office chairs, following up on office decoration, personnel recruitment, etc. The early work will be more difficult. However, this is a rare opportunity to exercise. Li Yi introduced with a smile. Cai Xiao Ei curled her lips and said it nicely, isn't she just going to be the shopkeeper and leave all the chores to her? Cai Xiao Ei hesitated for a moment, but finally chose to stay. The monthly salary of 6,000 is a considerable amount of income for her who just came out. Cai Xiao Ei is particularly satisfied with this. She only serves a boss who is younger than him and has no complicated relationship with colleagues. Seeing that Cai Xiao Ei agreed to come to work, Li Yi was overjoyed, and immediately left her the purchase of office desks, chairs, office supplies, and follow-up decoration. A copy of your ID card, and a copy of your resume. Wait a few days for the company seal to be in place, and I'll apply for you immediately. Li Yi looked at Cai Xiao Ei and said impatiently. Cai Xiao Ei nodded, and quickly took the information from the portfolio and handed it to Li Yi. Very good, I start work today, No problem. Li Yi took the document and asked with a smile. No problem. Cai Xiaoei thought for a while, then nodded simply. Very good, let's add a WeChat account and transfer you a sum of money to purchase office chairs and office supplies, and then contact a decoration company to install the ceiling and lighting, and contact a design company to design the company's logo. Li Yi ordered with a smile. Yes. But Mr. Li, how many desks and chairs do you want to buy and how to decorate it? Cai Xiaoei was taken aback and asked for instructions with an embarrassed expression. It's very simple, do you have a notebook? Record it. Li Yi asked with a smile. Yes, yes. Cai Xiaoei hurriedly flipped through the portfolio and took out the diary and pen. Very good, come with me, I want to use this small room as a computer room, and the next room is arranged as my office. You can buy me a set of office chairs as soon as possible, 2 sets, and the other set for your use, just put it in front of my office, buy it on JD.com, and let them deliver and install it tomorrow. Here in the lobby, buy 2 large tables, set up 20 to 30 workstations, and put a reception desk at the door. These can be slowed down. Let the decoration company come in first, hang the ceiling, and install the company's logo on the background wall behind the reception desk. In addition, hurry up and contact Telecom and ask them to come and pull the optical fiber. I urgently need an enterprise-grade optical fiber cable. Li Yi took Cai Xiaoei and walked around the 200 square meter office area and instructed. Cai Xiaoei wrote down the things Li Yi said one by one. After the introduction, Li Yi transferred 5,000 yuan to Cai Xiaoei to purchase desks and chairs. Mr. Li, what grade of office chair do you want to buy? Cai Xiaoei accepted the money and asked with concern. It's almost enough. You look at the arrangement. This office area is too small. It won't be long before we change to a larger venue. Li Yi smiled and said confidently. Cai Xiaoei nodded silently. She was still a little worried about whether the newly opened company would close down soon. At that time, she would have to find another job. Thinking of this, Cai Xiaoei's face darkened. Finding a better job is too difficult. Do it when you find it. Otherwise, there will be no money to pay the rent next month. Seeing that Cai Xiaoei's face was not very good, Li Yi smiled mysteriously and comforted. What? Don't you believe it? Just wait and see, you will know soon. Mr. Li, I have nothing else to do, then I'll go to work. Cai Xiaoei nodded and asked Li Yi for instructions. Yet, you need to deal with the matter of using fiber optic broadband and purchasing 2 sets of office desks and chairs. Li Yi explained. There should be a store selling office desks and chairs nearby, would you like to go and have a look? Cai Xiaoei suggested. No, I have other things to do. Li Yi declined with a smile. With his ID card and resume information, he really wasn't afraid that Cai Xiaoei wouldn't return with the money. Okay, I'll send you a picture of the desk and chair to choose from. Cai Xiaoei said. Okay, please. Li Yi waved his hand. Time flies. 2 weeks passed in the blink of an eye. From 9 in the morning to 5 in the morning, on weekends, Cai Xiaoei worked 10 days of work. Thanks to her efforts, the appearance of Yu reading www.youcansha.com's 200 square meter office changed dramatically. The white front desk is brightly lit, with the silver planet logo hanging on the background wall behind it, and 4 light blue artistic fonts below Music Technology, full of technology. The ceiling of the office area and the lighting in the room are all properly installed, and the office chairs in the lobby are in place. However, the current workstation is empty, with 4 newly equipped computers, and no new employees have been hired so far. Cai Xiaoei sat at the computer desk, looked at the talent website in every possible way, looked for talents, and sent interview invitations to the right people. Apart from that, there was nothing else. After being busy in the early days, now I am very relaxed, and it makes people feel flustered. In the past 2 weeks, the boss, Li Yi, didn't come to the company very often, so he came to take a look after the decoration, and let her run the company alone every day. Cai Xiaoyi has written that she is not at ease, and she is afraid that Mr. Li will not be paid when the time comes. Otherwise, to get out of the pit before you get too deep? Cai Xiaoyi looked hesitant and hesitated. Cannot be done. Finding the next job is not so fast. The rent for next month has not been settled, and there is still Hubi to repay, and it is not easy to ask the family for money. Too difficult. Xiao Cai, what are you looking at? You are so focused. Li Yi walked into the office quietly and greeted Cai Xiaoyi, who was staring at the computer in a daze. Mr. Li, you're finally here. I'm recruiting. Cai Xiaoyi stood up in a panic. Well, how many people have applied for the job? I have no class in the afternoon, so I asked them to come for an interview. Li Yi said with a smile. There are more than a dozen reserves, I'll make an appointment now. Cai Xiaoyi cheered up and responded happily. Li Yi nodded and walked into his office.